Hello everyone, thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope that you find this informative and maybe a little fun and some information maybe you didn't know. So earlier this semester I was introduced to Peak Neurophysiology Group, or as I will refer to it, PNG. So PNG is a group that offers interoperative monitoring, or IONM, for the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic regions. IONM is a kind of neural monitoring that is used to minimize complications during surgical operations. PNG offers four main services to their patients. First, they offer preoperative clinical exams. This is where they examine the patient to create a baseline of expectations or things that they should see during the operation. The second service they offer is that they review all imaging studies. These imaging studies can include anything from X-rays, MRIs, and CAT scans to fMRIs and EKGs, EEGs. These scans give them a better knowledge of the patient and it helps them create a better plan of care. The third service that's offered is real-time monitoring. So clinicians are in the operating room and they're offering data to surgeons in real time. Many of PNG's competitors use clinicians to gather data, but they don't analyze it on site. It has to be sent off site. So that's what kind of makes PNG stand out. They offer the data collection and analysis in real time. Finally, they provide detailed reporting of all of their findings in a comprehensive report at the end of the operation. So PNG bills a patient's insurance provider just like a surgeon would or an anesthesiologist would, and the total cost is based on the length and type of the data taken. So Peak Neurophysiology Groups opened its doors because they saw an immediate need for a higher standard of care in the field of IONM. PNG's goal is to advance the practice of IONM and cultivate the next generation of clinicians. So that leads directly into this project's purpose. The two goals I had and based it off that mission was that the first was to create a graduate level licensing program for PNG to use to train their new technologists. And the second part of that of the project is to create a plan to market that program. So at this point, there are few standardized training programs for IONM technologists. The two main ways people are becoming technologists are through obtaining associate's degrees or bachelor's degrees. So the associate degree track is when one would go to a vocational school, a community college, or a training hospital and obtain an associate's degree in electroneurodiagnostic technology. This usually takes about 2 years, and after that they would sit for a certifying exam or go and find a position that they could have without a certification. The second option is to get a bachelor's degree in a biological science and then train as a neurophysiologist technician and sit for their certification after they perform 150 surgeries on their own. The goal of the new certificate program that we would be proposing would be to remove the training gaps. So clearly between an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree and then certification versus no certification, there is a huge training gap. Those training gaps affect a level of patient care. It can affect the way people are trained. It's a huge issue. So that would remove those gaps. It would also increase profits for PNG because they can guarantee that all of their employees are certified and through this specific program. And it will also increase the level of patient care because it will standardize expectations. So although there is a lack of standard education throughout the IONM profession, Peak Neurophysiology Group would not be the first to create a dedicated training program. At this point, both the University of Connecticut and the University of Texas have created educational programs that focus on the brain sciences. The University of Connecticut has created a graduate certificate in IONM. So the students that participate in this program learn neuromonitoring of surgical cases in the operating room, in addition to the coursework that they complete. After completion of the program, students are eligible to participate in the national exam for certification in neurophysiologic interoperative monitoring, or CNIM. This program is a 6-week certification program, and offers the minimum of what students would need to become a IONM clinician. The University of Texas also has a Master's of Science program in Applied Cognition and Neuroscience that prepares students for both professions in research and a hospital setting. This program focuses on 3 main areas: communication, science disorders, cognition and neuroscience, and psychological sciences. It is a 1-year master degree program. They would that would take a full-time student fall, spring, and summer courses to complete. So at the end of this program as well, the student would be able to sit for the CNIM exam. So between this and the UConn program, both students get to where they need to be, but obviously there are 2 very different levels of education here. So the program that I proposed is a combination of the University of Connecticut and the University of Texas programs. It would be a graduate level certificate program and not a master's degree program, but it would offer a high level of education across multiple disciplines, and it would give hands-on work that would set up an IONM clinician to be very successful. So the goal of this program is to focus on the brain from a variety of approaches and understand how the systems interact, especially within the operating room. They would also offer an in-depth technology training that focuses on the use, data collection, and interpretation of EEGs, SPEC, PET, and fMRI machines. These are all the types of machines that IONM clinicians use on a daily basis. They would be able to not only collect the data, but interpret it for the surgeons, meeting P&G's level of professional care, and being able to give that amount of information and data in real time. They would also provide hands-on training in an operating room setting. To sit for the certification program, you must do, or for the certification exam, excuse me, you must do 150 cases on your own in the operating room. The goal is to have the students meet those requirements before they graduate. And of course, after the completion of the program, students should be eligible to participate in the national exam for certification. This is the curriculum that I propose should go along with the new program. So as you can see, it is a multidisciplinary curriculum. It goes through a number of subjects that makes a student well-rounded as well as a successful clinician. It is a 12-month training program, certificate program, where at the end, the student will be able to sit for the certifying exam. At the bottom of that list there, you'll see Practicum 1 and Practicum 2. Practicum 1 is used as, is observed by another clinician. It's there to make a student feel comfortable in the operating room and feel good about performing their own data collection and interpretation for surgeons. Practicum 2 would be where a student becomes a bit more autonomous. To sit for the certifying exam, you must do 150 surgeries on your own. So that's where that 150 surgeries would come in. Again, this is spanning over a year. So that really gives the student the time to do the coursework and do the hands-on training and become very successful. So now that the program has been established for PNG, there are two ways that they can apply this new program. So the first would be to create an independent, for lack of a better word, institution where they are responsible for the creation, training, implementation of the new curriculum and training these new people. This independent course is rather expensive, but offers PNG autonomy to create coursework that they feel meets their needs. The second option would be to partner with a college or university. This would take some of the expense away from PNG, but it also takes away the autonomy because they would need to fall in line under the college or university's mission. They would need to also follow their guidelines, and they would have to change things based on their approval. So according to the Delta Cost Project at the American Institute for Research, they found that it would take about $1 million to start this program from the ground up. So if PNG wanted to go that route and create this licensure program, this is what they would be looking at. So as you can see, there are some really large expenses. Things like owning a facility, hiring consultants, faculty, remodeling, all the technology you would need. For this program, it would make the most sense to offer online courses. So you would need that technology. Again, it is an expensive upfront, but they would have full autonomy over their own practice, and they could change things when they wanted to and how they wanted to, and they wouldn't really have to answer to anybody else. So that's one thing to look at. So if PNG were to partner with a school or university, it would be about $100,000 for that university to implement. Again, the same research by the Delta Cost Project showed the difference between beginning a program and continuing on with the program. That $100,000 includes equipment, faculty, and marketing for that program. If PNG is interested in partnering with somebody, they would have to offer a proposal that includes the objective of the program, features and strengths of that program, the degree that would be awarded. In this case, it's a certificate program, what would the admissions requirements be, and the financial support given by PNG. Obviously, if they were going to partner, some of that, that financial burden, a lot of it would come on PNG. The evidence of demand for the course, you don't want to start something without knowing if anybody's going to be interested in it. The employment possibilities after graduation. So what is this certificate going to get people? So the resources required, that includes training equipment, faculty, anything really you can think of that way. Compatibility with the university mission, kind of like we talked about before. PNG would need to align itself with a university or college that made sense for both of them. And then they would obviously need to provide an implementation plan. So once the curriculum has been established and PNG chooses which way they would like to go, with either independently or with a partner, they must market this new program. They do this through creating a target market, advertising, price and promotion, and public relations. So the first step, and it's super important, is establishing the target market. Establishing the target market will help decide advertising, pricing, promotion, and public relation plans. So to define a target market within this educational field, we have to really think about who would benefit the most from the services offered. So the students P&G wish to attract would have a bachelor's degree in biological science. It doesn't have to be recent grads. It can be anybody who's been in a professional setting for a long time and is looking to maybe advance their career or change their career. So at this point, we're looking for people also that have a disposable income to spend on an advanced certification. So you're really looking for those professionals in the field. Also, having an online program widens the market a bit because of the flexibility it offers. You know, the working mom and dad can go back to school and do it online, or even those recent grads that need to pay back those student loans. But it only widens the market a bit because students also have to be able to travel and complete the training requirements at hospitals and training sites. So that's super important to keep in mind. So after the target market has been established, we can begin the advertising process. So according to the Journal of Computer Mediated Communication, 264 million or 81% of the United States population uses social media. So the hope is that this form of advertising or social media advertising can provide huge increases in public knowledge and sales with lower acquisition costs. When setting up social media advertisements, my first step would be to use Facebook. Facebook allows companies to create ads that target people based on their specific demographics, interests, behaviors, and affiliations. It targets thousands of people per day with incredible accuracy. It would give us the opportunity to reach from the New England states down to the Mid-Atlantic states and grab those people that fall within our scope of reach. I would also create a LinkedIn group. Although P&G has their own LinkedIn page, starting a LinkedIn group created and centered on this specific course is another great way to build a community of potential students, especially since the target market is made of professionals. So while the social media advertising would be taking effect, I would simultaneously update the website to include the education portion, the new education portion. Once we have students and things kind of got underway, I would absolutely add student testimonials. I think this is super important because people don't really enjoy being the guinea pig of a situation. They like to know that people have been successful and enjoyed a product or service. So having student testimonials is super important, especially when cultivating a new program. I would also create email lists. I know everybody does it, but it does work. Something I would do a little differently wouldn't just be to advertise our program. It would also be to send out information like helpful hints on how to apply, when to apply, different information within the field of IONM so that they trust us before we start selling them things. So that's super important to our email lists. And you can sell them out relatively cheaply. And that's always nice. It's cheap marketing. So moving away from advertising a little bit, we need to talk about pricing and promotion. So with any educational program, it's super important to make sure that you price courses so that people feel the quality of your program, but we don't price them out of our program. So some ways to kind of get this program rolling, less so if you were to affiliate with a college or university, but more if you were to do this independently, you have a little bit more leeway over your pricing. You could, if you were doing this independently, you can bundle courses and offer discounts. So this would be if a person wanted to sign up for 3 courses and pay up front, you could bundle them and make it a little bit cheaper. A price promotion, again, as you're starting out, it might not be something you do indefinitely, but a temporary price promotion so that people can get their feet wet with your course and see what you have to offer. and also payment plans for those people that would like to join the program but may not be able to afford it right up front. This would be something that could be offered as well. So finally, would be the public relations side. So again, if PNG and the faculty that would be brought in to teach these courses, the first thing that they could do is speak at local and professional events. This is really that like grassroots word of mouth, and just showing what your faculty's got and what you can offer students. This can be anything from something as small as a high school career day to a TED Talk. You can be a wide range of things. Just getting out there and talking about your program and what you have to offer and things going on in the industry. The second way to really improve the public's knowledge base, your reputation, and really to do the right thing and give back to the community, is to offer money to charity, to work closely within the communities that you work in. For example, if PNG were to create this course, they could give money to people affected by brain injuries, something along those lines. It gets your story out there in a good light and brings in potential students. So just to wrap up, as I mentioned before, there is very little standardized education when it comes to intraoperative neuromonitoring. Many IONM companies put clinicians in an operating room setting after just a few weeks on the job. Peak Neurophysiology Group holds their clinicians to a higher standard. Many of their clinicians have advanced degrees and complete a year-long fellowship in IONM. The goal of this project was to provide standardized education for students that are hoping to become IONM clinicians and to market the new program. Thank you so much for being here and listening to me. I would be more than happy to answer any questions, and please find my references on the following slide. Thank you again.